turning the grace of our Lord, of our power, into lasciviousness, meaning unbridled lust, and denying the only Lord power and
The
Lord
title
Yahushua
says it all.
HaMashiach.
Changing
But
the
you notice they're
doctrine
not
is
using
a
the
major
name
sign of
Yahweh Shai
infiltration.
and Yahweh that much, right? They're starting to use the Most High in Christ a lot more. All right, these camps have always mixed in between these two, but between the real names and the Most High in Christ. But these individuals used to use it a little more. Okay, we see that fading out, and we heard the stories about how going back to the fake comforter, Comfy, he when he came in there and started to rise up, that they these are from the stories that our apostles told us, that the first thing that went was the name. Okay, so you see that coming up too. So anyways, let's go ahead. I want to go to this Chat GPT thing that I got going on here.
So I got subscribed to their new page, TLC, TCL, whatever the hell it's called, ministries. And y'all should do it too, just to find out what they're teaching, because they switched everything up. They did a 180-degree turn, a bow face, abruptly.
Okay, let's pull this up. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this Chat GPT up so y'all can see what I'm looking at here. So y'all can see exactly what I'm looking at. Move from there. Hold on, Salaki. Give me. So you see me jumping on this cat boy. Okay, so anyways, ultimately, let's go into this, because what I asked it, right, was what are the signs that a group has been infiltrated or took a bribe, right? And it says the major signs of infiltration or bribery. Number 1, sudden change in direction or values. That's number 1. The sudden change in direction or values. So they were going one way, saying that the Gentiles are going into captivity, that there's no salvation for them. And then now they just did a 180 and they're teaching the exact opposite. Okay, they're teaching a straight up Christian doctrine. Okay? Meddle not with them that are given to change. If the group suddenly softens its stance, and that's what they're doing, abandons core beliefs, you see? I remember there was a time even Bishop Nathaniel was saying, "Oh, no, I don't want to hear you calling the white man the devil when you go out there preaching." So what's that about? That's softening their stance. Okay, abandons core beliefs, avoids topics they used to emphasize. Right? Like captivity, the nations not no salvation for the other nations, the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. That's a most important part of the doctrine, is the name of Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. That's the most important part, because if you pray upon that, you have power. You have power. You have a defense. Okay? It says starts pushing agendas that benefit outside interest. Who benefits from that? Well, they're pushing the same thing that Vocab's pushing. And Vocab is set up. Right? So you should know that they're set up. What's going on, man? What's going on here? It says,
Titus 3 verse 10, a man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition reject. You want to look up that word heretic? And that's an actual Greek word.
Strong's G 141, heretikos. Heretikos.
So heretic is a Greek word, goes back to the Greek, heretikos. G 141. I may go into this root. fitted or able to take or choose a thing. Schismatic, factious, a follower of a false doctrine. Because they got a lot of people that change when they change. Heretic. Let me go to the root. Let's go to the root.
Strong's G 140. Hairetizo.
The root word is haritizo. To choose to belong to a sect. Let's look up the word sect. Sect can be used in the positive sense and in the negative sense. When they had the splits, it became different sects. Okay. Then the high priest rose up, and all they that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation. That's Acts 15 and 17, 5 and 17, 15 and 5 Acts. But those rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees. So you had the Sadducees, which were Jake. You had the Sadducees, and you had the Pharisees, right? For we have found this man a pestilent fellow. He's talking about Paul. And a mover of sedition. That's what he was. When you go into history and say what was the Paul charged with, and it's not going to say that he was charged with sedition, but he was charged with sedition. I'll look that up. It says, for we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world. World meaning what? That region. And a ringleader of the sect of the what? Nazarenes. The Nazarenes. That was a sect. The followers of the Messiah were also a sect. Let's go. Let's look into. Like, you gotta look into them words, Nate. Gotta look into them words, man. Get a deeper understanding. A ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. Sedition. Let's look up the word sedition.
Strong's G 4714. Stasis.
Stasis. A standing, station, state, and insurrection, to cut from within. Strife, insurrection. So what is the word here? The word is sedition. We're going to look that up in the... let me see. Let me do this. Where are we? Here we go. Okay. And we found out back in the day, what was that called? Antebellum slavery before the Civil War. Back then, 1800s, 1700s, and so forth, you had brothels that were legal. You know, why did they make it illegal? Because of Jake. Anyway. Where am I going to go here? Okay. Was the Apostle Paul charged with sedition against the Romans? Oh, they gave it to me. The last time I looked, it said no. Was the Apostle Paul charged with sedition against the Romans? Yes. That's why he got put to death. The Apostle Paul was repeatedly accused of sedition, stirring up trouble, rebellion. because you're saying the Lord was coming back. Peter was also charged with sedition. That's why they got put to death against the Romans by his Jewish opponents, notably by Tertullius before Governor Felix. Remember, when he spoke to Felix, he spoke to Herod Agrippa, but he defended himself, claiming he only preached resurrection and caused no public disturbances, because they looked at it as we're going to get the people riled up. We're going to take this place down. No, he was going spiritual. So he explained it to both Felix and Herod. And was it Felix or Herod? I believe it was Herod. I'll look that up. I did a lesson on it a couple of weeks ago. And the charges were often political smoke screens for religious conflict. While riots sometimes followed him, Paul maintained he wasn't inciting insurrection, and Roman authorities often found no concrete proof, though he faced imprisonment and ultimately appealed to Caesar. Now, the Caesar was Nero, which Nero's here today. That's Trump. So he was the one that signed off on his death. Because of what reason? Because of sedition, insurrection. But it was started by the Israelites that didn't like Paul. Let me see something. I believe it was Felix that said, "Thou also persuaded me to be a Christian." Let me see here. Let's go to the blue letter. I don't need this. Felix. It was either Felix or Herod Agrippa. Okay, let me do this. I think it's Herod Agrippa. Chris. Okay, that's Christ. Okay, it had to be Herod. Let me jump. Give me a second here. I go to the word Christian. It's Acts 26. It was Herod Agrippa. Christian. Yes, it was Agrippa. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuaded me to be a Christian, a follower of the Messiah. Now, did he follow him? No. Let's come back over here. Where are we? I'm a little all over the place. Let's come back over here. Sedition. Ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. IUIC is a sect. ISUPK is a sect. GMS is a sect. Genesis is a sect. Sakari is a sect. Zealots is a sect. The Yah Israelites, you got different sects among them. Okay, let's go to the Nazarenes. You know what? Let me do this. Okay, let me do this. One separate, right? Revived Nazarite, an inhabitant of Nazarene, title given to the Messiah, a name given to Christians by the Jews. Acts 24 and 5. And I read that. Let me do this. Acts 24 and 5. For we have found this man a pestilent fellow. And okay, let me ask chat this question. Okay, we had chat, back at chat. I'm going to ask it in a general way. For we, Acts 24 verse 5, for we have found this man a pestilent fellow. When we go out there on the highways and the Bible, we do these videos, we're pestilent to the Christians mainly. And a mover of sedition among all the Jews, because he was telling them to believe in the Messiah throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. A ringleader. Copy. What does it mean what does, do it this way, what does ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes mean? So wait for it. In Acts 24:5, the phrase "a ringleader of the sect of Nazarenes" is an accusation made against the Apostle Paul by his opponents, not a neutral description. Yeah, he's one of them guys. Nazarene meaning a follower of the Messiah, because he came out of Nazarene. He's a Nazarene. He's a Christian, right? Acts 11:26. He's a Nazarene. He's head of the sect of the Nazarenes. Here's what it means. Piece by piece, ringleader. This means leader or instigator, someone seen as the head of the organization. Paul being portrayed as the main troublemaker. He's the main troublemaker. They call GMS a bunch of troublemakers. Sect. In this context, a sect means a splinter group. One West splits into other sects. Sect. Splinter groups or factions, often implying something dangerous, heretical, right? Because we claim these other groups are going off on certain things or outside accepted religion. It means it's meant negatively. The Nazarenes. This was an early name for Christians. So that's some spaghetti for your plate right there. This is an early name for Christians. So when the Jews or the Israelites followed the Messiah, they said, "Oh, he's a Nazarene. He's a Nazarene," right? And Paul is a ringleader of the Nazarenes. So he could have said Paul is a ringleader of these Christians. So ask a Christian that. What were Christians called before they were called Christians? They were called Nazarenes. The Messiah was from Nazareth, so his followers were called Nazarenes, or Christians, or Hamashiachim. Jewish leaders used the term dismissively, not honorably, because it was a derogatory term. Putting it all together, the speaker, Tertullius, accusing Paul before the Roman governor Felix. So he said, "I'm going to tell the Romans on you, nigga. I'm going to call the beast on you." Jake actually said that, and I was going to beat his ass too. He said, "I'm going to call the beast on you." I read his ass all the way down the block. That's when he was wild. It's basically saying Paul is the leader of a dangerous religious movement centered on Yahushua of Nazareth. This was meant to make Christianity sound like a threat to Jewish religious order, a political danger to Rome, like they're saying now. You black Hebrew Israelites, see, this is a cult right there, and you're going to try to take the government, they're going to come get you. Important. And then, see, these Christians are mad because we're taking these Israelite men out of the church. You can keep the woman. The woman is insignificant at this point in time, because we don't need the Jake woman to bring back the kingdom. We can bring back the. If we only had Edomite woman, we can bring back the Edomite woman. Now David and Joab, when Joab was killing them Edomites, he was killing all the men. I just read that in First Kings 11. It said he killed the men. It didn't say he killed the man and the woman. Why didn't he kill the woman? Because you have to do a thing called extrapolate. You have to pull it out. Matter of fact, I'll ask that question. Early Christianity was still seen as a branch of Judaism, but a separate religion, yet calling it a sect of the Nazarenes was a way to discredit it and make Paul look rebellious. That's why ultimately he was put to death. Okay, let me do this here. Oh, let me ask this question since it's in my mind. Give me a second here. See how the Spirit works. I was listening to brother, and the Spirit got me going in precepts upon precepts, scriptures upon scriptures. 1 Kings 11, I believe that's around about the 20 some odd verse. Okay, for it came to pass, 15, for it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was going up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom. So may I ask Chad another question? You know what I'm doing? Let me do the whole thing. Let me do the whole thing. Okay, it's coming down here. So let me ask this question. What did they do with the Edomite woman? Okay, let it load on up. Give me a second here. Okay, give me a second here. Let me get my bearings straight. There's a question. I copied and pasted 1 Kings 11 verse 15. Right? So this Joab killed, smitten the men. And they said they was burying them for 6 months. That means they were stacking them up. But David loved the Edomites. Moses said, stop leading the Edomites. No, he didn't give a shit about the Edomites. What did they do with the Edomite woman? Short answer, the verse does not say what happened to the Edomite woman. What happened to the Edomite woman is the same thing that's going to happen in the kingdom. It only states, oh, well, wait a minute. I'm getting beside myself. Hey, it says they're going to raise up the tabernacle of David as in the days of old. Did not they get concubines? They're going to get concubines in the kingdom. It says the verse does not say what happened to the Edomite woman. It only states that the males were killed. Anything beyond that has to be inferred carefully from the wider biblical and ancient Near Eastern context, which is what? Deuteronomy 21 and 10, right? So let's see what the text actually says. Okay, smitten every male in Edom. Give me a second. It's a scam phone call. Okay, so here I am. What likely happened? Wait a minute. Did I read this? So the most reasonable reader is that women were spared. Okay, let me read this again. Or did I read this? The wording is specific. If women had also been killed, the text would normally say everyone, or men, women, and children, as it does in other passages. Now I went through that, Numbers 31. They said kill the males, the women that are married, and the boys, but take the little girls for yourself. That didn't mean you took a six-year-old girl back home and popped her. You let her live in your house until she reached the age of 12. So the most reasonable reading is that women were spared. Why did they spare them? What likely happened? Based on context, no explicit details. In the ancient world and elsewhere in the Bible, when males of a defeated group were killed, the women and children were usually left alive, taken captive, absorbed into Israelite society, sometimes as servants or what? What's that, Captain? Wives. Concubines. That was part of the custom. See, you niggas been in America too goddamn long. That's a topic right there. You ninjas been in America too goddamn long. Anyway, it says, so A, I can close A, as a mafia would say, close the book. Absorbed into, what? Let me read this again, because this is music to my ears. What likely happened based on context, not explicit details. In the ancient world, we're talking 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, Moses, David, King Solomon, it was different back then. Men got women when they were 12 years old, 13 years old. And elsewhere in the Bible, when males of a defeated group were killed, the women and children were usually left alive, taken captive, absorbed into Israelite society, sometimes as servants or, how you spell that? W-I-V-E-S. Wives or concubines, or fled and later re-established themselves, which fits Edom's later continued existence. Yeah, they escaped. Hey, Dad. We know Edom was not wiped out because Edom appears many times later in the Bible. Hadad the Edomite, mentioned shortly after, in 1 Kings 11 survives and rises to power, showing the nation recovered. Right, they're in power right now. Why the Bible focuses on every male. In ancient warfare, killing the adult males ended military resistance. That's what the Moors did to the southern Italians, like Navalidan, Calabrese, Sardinia, what's the other one? Sicily. Those places. The Moors, what they did was they systematically killed all the males, slaughtered them, and took the women and popped them and had kids with them. Prevented immediate rebellion, was a way of asserting control, not necessarily total destruction. Because what is a woman? She's booty in war. She's booty. She's spoil. That's part of the spoil. The Bible is descriptive here, not approving. This passage records what happened historically. It is not presented as a moral instruction. Well, what are your morals? Morals back then were different from morals today. The verse does not say the women were killed. The wording strongly implies they were spared. They were likely captives, survivors, or refugees. Edom continued to exist afterward, and they're here today. The descendants of them are so-called white people, confirming not everyone was destroyed. So that's it. Let me come on back.
It says, there's some good stuff here, man. And I know if the elder apostle Tahar sees this, he'll have a field day with this, because there's some good stuff.
I'm having a field day with it right now.
When I did the lesson, and really, if you want to see the full lesson, go to the full lesson. I'll go into more of it. But it says what internal division appears out of nowhere. Did not just an internal division appear amongst those guys with Sakari? Did not they just have a division among them? Yeah, that wasn't. Hey man, these things are not coincidence, man. Okay, it says people. It says a common infiltration tactic is divide and break and break unity. Signs people who used to get along suddenly clash. New conflicts that don't make sense, right? There was no real explanation for why Hassad was kicked out or why Hakkad left, right? Members being turned against each other. So these guys sold the fuck out, man. Because I remember he was like, yo, you don't know, all of a sudden Hakkad didn't want to be with Sakari anymore. You understand what I'm saying? So we're watching you, man. The Holy Spirit, not even us, the Holy Spirit is searching you dudes out, man. Rumors, gossip, or distrust spreading fast. Hold on, what was the rumors and gossip about hey, off. I told you to Satan be jump on his cat, man. Okay, while I'm doing a lesson. Okay, but rumors and gossip. Right? Well, that was the thing. The plug. Okay. It says a new person joins and quickly gains influence. This is a red flag. So when someone like Comfy, right? He got up in there and all of a sudden he gained all this influence. And somebody that I'm looking at,
and they're working with Zion Lex and Divine Prospect. Now I'm not saying anything negative or positive about them guys because I don't know them enough, but I know of them. So we don't know what their stance is. But all of a sudden, and Deacon Akar said, not too many words, this video that he did Sunday, he said in not too many words, we have nothing to do with the One West. We don't deal with anybody from the One West. We don't F with IUIC, ICBK, Sakari, any of the branches of Sakari, the sex of Sakari. We damn sure don't deal with the GMS. We don't deal with none of them. We don't deal with anybody that affiliated with the One West. So they totally cut severed ties with where they got the truth from, because everything that they've been teaching for the last 10 plus years, that's all One West doctrine. Specifically, GMS One West doctrine. So let's listen on.
is that dude Yeshaya. I don't trust him. I think he all of a sudden he got this nice big chain on, you know, it looked like a diamond chain. Huh? What's going on with that? Where you go? You know, it looked like I don't trust all this influence. Gains influence. Okay. It says a new person joins and quickly gains influence. This is a red flag. So when someone like Comfy, right? He got up in there and all of a sudden he gained all this influence. And somebody that I'm looking at is that dude Yeshaya. I don't trust him. I think he all of a sudden he got this nice big chain on, you know, it looked like a diamond chain. Huh? What's going on with that? Where you go? Looks expensive. Looks like it could be tens of thousands of dollars if it's real. It's definitely tens of thousands of dollars. That chain that he got, the guy who exposed Gorilla. A newcomer rises unusually fast. They push decisions in a certain direction. They ask too many questions too fast. Somebody keep asking you questions about where brothers live at, what job he do, and this, that, you know. And he just got in this thing. You got to be weary of these guys, right? Even if he's been in this thing, it's like, why do you care about these certain questions? You know, they want access to sensitive info or leadership. They act overly friendly or agreeable at first. Yeah, you gotta watch out with these guys that's overly agreeable, man. These ass kissers, man. Okay. All right. So, anyways, I'm just gonna stop with the 3. There's 10 here, but if you want to see the 10, go to the other video that I did, man. Okay, because there's a video where I go into all 10 signs. So that's the bottom line, man. So you could clearly see that something ain't right with these guys if you're paying attention now. Okay, if you're paying attention, you can clearly see something ain't right. All right. And the first thing to go is what is the names of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, but the doctrine in general. Okay, I'll say the doctrine in general because they're still saying they throw it out every now and then, right? But the doctrine has been completely twisted around. And you know these dudes ain't sincere. You know this guy's all about the money for sure. No question asked. What's that, a 6 and a 3 on his shirt? On his, what's this, 6 and 3? What's this? I can't see it properly still, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay?
Yeah, they changed up overnight, bro. Overnight. Hassan got kicked out. About a couple weeks later, he decided to leave. They both teamed up, came up with a new thing, and now, Esau can make it.
Let's go to 2 Peter's, man. This is 2 Peter's 2:1. It says, "But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies." These are damnable heresies that they're teaching right now. Okay? "Even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction." The Lord is going to get rid of these guys real soon. "And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of." Yeah, and they've been putting stains on the truth. Okay, mixing the truth with that ninja stuff, that gang stuff, that, you know, they've been putting a stain on the truth. But let's look up this word heresies in the Greek. Okay, hahichesis. All right, and it says act of taking, capture, storming a city, choice, that which is chosen, a body of men following their own tenets. Right. A body of men following their own tenets. They're doing their own thing.
Yeah, when these guys switched it up overnight, we talking about a month and a half ago, month and a half and change, month and change. You got a lot of guys that just switched over with them. You got to go to their page and read the comments of these other people. That makes all the sense in the world. Oh my goodness, the Spirit is really working with you guys. Meanwhile, 2-3 months ago, they were teaching something completely opposite of what they're teaching now. So a lot of you people are just blind followers. As I said in a previous video the other day, if the blind lead the blind. That's in the scriptures. what's going to happen to them? Both of them going to fall into a ditch. So he's leading you guys into destruction because you don't study. Study to show thyself approved. 2 Timothy 2 verse 15. A workman needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Precept upon precept, scripture upon scripture.
They're doing what they want to do. Okay? They're not following the spirit of Yahweh Shai. They're not following what Yahweh Shai said to do. And the thing with Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, they demand exactness. You have to follow them exactly, okay? You can't just do things how you want to do things. And you know who found that out the hard way? Saul. Okay, he found that out.
That's the spirit, because I went through that yesterday. I read about Saul, how he lost the kingdom. That's it mentions that in what is that? Is that First Samuel's? I believe it's a couple of places. The 10th chapter, the 15th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I did a video on it yesterday. When the spirit just left him, because he was walking with the prophets, right? Mosai gave him a heart to be a prophet. Then they said Saul, who walks among the prophets. Saul is amongst the prophets. And Samuel loved Saul. He loved Saul. That's why when the Mosai came to Samuel and said, look, I'm taking that spirit from him, Samuel cried. You know? He was close to Saul. And when that spirit was taken away from him, especially when Samuel had passed, went into the spiritual realm, he went and consulted a witch, which he kicked the witches out. And the spirit summoned up Samuel, and then when the spirit also showed the witch, that's Saul that you're speaking to. And she said, oh, you Saul, you lied to me, that's why you covered yourself up.
The hard way. Okay, dissensions arising from diversity of opinions and aims. Yeah, they're coming with their own doctrine, their own mindset. Okay, which really, we believe that they've been they had a talking to by the left hand side. All right. So the point of the matter is, man, changing the doctrine is a major sign of infiltration. It's a major sign of infiltration. All right. So, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. I don't really have to go to too much more, but you know what? I'll play this video. I'll play this video from the elder Karata Zaba. I'll play this video right now.
Y'all, first and foremost, want to give all praises to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High.
We are going to
notice he said all praises to the Most High, not Yahweh Shai. What the hell's going on? What the hell? See that? What the hell happened? This fucking cat, man. I'm gonna fuck up the whole flex, bro. Yo. Shit, man.
Y'all, first and foremost, want to give all praise.
Hold on, man. It's not even playing. It's not even playing. Anyways, Akim, I don't know why it's not playing right now. Right now, it's messing up now. I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. Let me see if I can play it. I want to play that video real quick before I end it out. Fucking shit, man. Okay, this thing ain't playing, Akim. It's not playing. I don't know what the hell fuck is going on with this shit, but it's not playing. Anyways, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. I'll say shalom.
Shalom.